So, to continue our discussion for vectors, let us have as our example yung data na meron tayo on board. So, for example, we have provided with 4 different vectors. And you will notice na they are given in such a way na wala silang uniformity. Allow me to read it first. For example, ang ating F1 ay 75 kips east 40 degrees north. And for F2, we have 25 kips or 25 kilopounds with a bearing of negative 210 degrees with respect to negative x. So, WRT of x means with respect to negative x axis. And for F3, we have it 100 kips, 8 vertical, 3 horizontal, quadrant 3. And for F4, we have the unit vector expression negative 30i over cap plus 40j over cap kilopounds. So, assuming na mga ganito ang data na nabigay sa atin, hindi natin ito masasabagan using either the graphical method and the analytical method kung hindi natin muna sila gagawing uniform. No? So, that is the first thing that we are to do. To have them converted to similar formats. At yun yung gagawin muna natin ngayon. So, as a starter, hanapin natin ano ba yung F1. Ano ba yung ating unang given? F1, 75 kips east 40 degrees north. Ang ibig sabihin ng engineer, no? Kung plot lang natin simply, F1 with a magnitude 75 kips per kilopounds is positioned sa first quadrant, east 40 degrees north. Ibig sabihin, so we will be starting from east and generating an angle of 40 degrees towards north. Natin. This is the magnitude 75 kips. At that, nag-generate ng angle na 40 degrees starting from east towards north in a counterclockwise direction. Meaning, east 40 north, east 40 north is also in the same position as your 40 degrees north of east. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na ang east 40 degrees north ay nasa parehong bearing ng 40 degrees east of north. Hindi sila pareho. But instead, the bearing of east 40 degrees north lies in the same position as your 40 degrees north of east. Sa ganitong format, east is your reference point. Sa ganitong version, yung nauna, east is your reference lumalabas na pwede natin sabihin na ang 75 kips east 40 north ay 75 kips 40 degrees north of east. Next, how about our F2? Ang given nating F2 is read as 25 kips, negative 210 degrees with respect to negative x. Naituro sa atin dati for F sub 2, naituro sa atin na ang reference term natin sa trigonometry happens to always positive x. Pero in reality, hindi naman talaga confined sa positive x lamang. We can make use of the other axis as a reference point. We can make use of the negative x-axis, the negative y, and the positive y-axis as a reference point. Kung saan tayo magsisimulang sumukat ng angle. So, kung sinasabi natin na ang bearing is negative 210 with respect to negative x. Again, ang turo sa atin sa triangle, kapag counterclockwise ang reading ng angle, we assign it as positive. And if the reading is counterclockwise, that is a negative angle. So, following that simple practice sa triangle, masasabi natin na ang position ng negative 210 with respect to negative x, starting from the negative x-axis, since it is a negative angle, so magja-generate tayo ng 210 degree angle. That is your 210 degree negative angle. Starting from the negative x-axis, paano mo nalaman negative x-axis? With respect to negative x. Eh, paano mo nalaman clockwise rotation? Based on trigonometry practice, the negative angle is on a counterclockwise fashion. Since alam natin na from negative x counterclockwise towards exactly the x is 180 degrees, we can therefore conclude that this angle read from x is equivalent to 30 degrees. So it follows then that our F2, 25 kips, negative 210 degrees with respect to negative x, is also equal to 25 kips east, 30 degrees south. Why? It generates a 30-degree angle coming from east to positive x towards south. That's why it's east 30 degrees south. Now, for F3, we have it 100 kips, 8 vertical, 3 horizontal, quadrant 3. So, paano ba doon di 3? Una, sinabi quadrant 3. So, for our third vector, that is F3, semi-plot lang natin din sa Cartesian plane. have trapezium plane divided into 4 quadrants. First quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. Positive x, positive y, negative x, negative y. Kung saan ang first quadrant has positive x and y values. For the second quadrant, we have negative x and positive y values. For the third quadrant, we have negative x and negative y values. And for the fourth quadrant, we have positive x and negative y values. Ano bang sinabing 8 vertical, 3 horizontal, quadrant 3? So, we will focus on the third quadrant. And it was mentioned that it is 8 units vertically and 3 units horizontally. So, yung horizontal, dahil third quadrant siya, ang titingnan natin horizontal is yung negative x at ang 8 vertical ay naroon sa negative y. Bakit? Kasi nasa third quadrant. For third quadrant, we have the west and the south axis. So, ano gagawin natin? We will locate or count 8 units vertically downward. So, assume na lang natin na ito yun. 8 units. And the 3 units horizontal, assume natin ganyan kahaba. So, the next thing na gawin mo after having them plotted, gagawa natin siya ng rectangle, closed figure, kung saan hahanapin natin ang hypotenuse. So, lumalabas na kung palalakihin natin ang figure na yan, this is your negative x-axis, this being your y-axis, lalabas na if this is 8 units and this is your 3 units, then generating a parallelogram. Tapos, kukunin mo yung hypotenuse. Masasabi natin na may dalawang triangles tayo na po. Dalawang right triangles na po. The first right triangle is the one na mayroong angle na nakatikit sa x-axis. Tawagin natin yung angle theta. At yung isa naman triangle, yung mayroong angle na nakatikit sa y-axis, sabihin natin gamma. So, this is your gamma, and this is your theta. Kung saan, the sum of theta and angle gamma is equivalent to 90 degrees. And where do we go from here? You have the freedom to choose kung alin sa dalawang right triangles generated na gagamitin mo. In practice, ginagamit natin yung triangle na nakadikit sa y-axis ang angle. Pero pwede naman natin gamitin yung triangle na may angle gamma, in this case, attached doon sa vertical. No? So, anong sunod? Sabihin na lang natin, pinili natin yung triangle na nasa kaliwa. Masasabi natin na since the magnitude of this side is 3, lumalabas this is also 3, and if the magnitude of this side is 8 units, ang value ng side na to ay 8 units. Translating here, masasabi natin na this is 3 units, this is 8 units, and this is equal to the root of 73. Bakit nangyayari root of 73? Kasi right triangle siya. Kung gagamit tayo ng Pythagorean, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Substituting all these values, lalabas kasi yan na c is equivalent to the root or square root of 8 squared, the sum of 8 squared and 3 squared. Thus, giving rise to the root of 73 as the value of the hypotenuse. So, ano sunod? Since ang hinahanap natin is yung kanyang magiging direction, knowing na siya ay nasa third quadrant, at pag sinabi natin quadrant 3, tumutukoy lang yan sa west at saka south. So, lumalabas na kailangan natin kunin muna yung angle. So, for example, hinahanap natin yung angle na nakatingin sa x. So, based on this triangle, solving for angle theta, we will make use of the SOHCAHTOA. Again, based sa triangle, kapag right triangle ang figure, solving for the angle, may tayo namin ng sine opposite over hypotenuse, cosine adjacent over hypotenuse, and for tangent, opposite over adjacent side. So in this case, solving for theta, we can make use of either sine, cosine, or tangent. So, pwede natin gamitin yung tangent. So, tangent of theta, based on this figure, would have to be opposite of the angle, so that is 8, divided by the adjacent side, which is 3. So, theta would have to be the inverse tangent of 8/3. And upon computation, we will be able to get the value of theta as, what's the value of your tangent, inverse tangent? 8/3.
69.44.
So we have 69.44 degrees for theta. Lumalabas na kung babalikan natin ang triangle for F3 pa rin. Yung triangle na nakuha natin ay ang triangle na nakadikit sa X. Hindi natin ginamit yung sa triangle. Knowing that this is 8, this is 3, this is root of 73, this is your angle theta. And this, the complement of theta, is your angle gamma, that is attached sa y-axis. So, lumalabas na. Sakali at hanapin mo yung angle gamma, pwede mo nang gamitin na from gamma plus theta being equal to 90 degrees. You can have your gamma as 90 degrees subtracted with theta, that is 69.44 degrees, thereby allowing you to get a value that is equivalent to 20.56 degrees. So, lumalabas na ang ating F3 which is originally 100 kips, 8 vertical, 3 horizontal, quadrant 3 can now be expressed as 100 kips. We are to use theta, it is west and south, it would be 100 kips 69.44 degrees south of west. Why south of west? Because we started from west on a counterclockwise rotation towards south. Or pwede yung kanyang complement, gamma, 100 kips, 20 degrees, 0.56 degrees, west of south. Or 100 kips, south, 20.56 degrees west. I hope naging klaro yan. And for F4, which we have as F sub 4 is negative 30I over cap, positive 40 J over cap kips. So this is called a unit vector, wherein your I over cap values represent your X values and your J over cap corresponds to the Y values of the vector. So if you are to plot it in Cartesian plane, so we have negative 30I, so that is along the negative x-axis, so we'll be counting 30 units. Then we have 40J over cap positive, so that is along the y-axis, positive at that. This is your 40, this is your 30. So the next thing we have to do is to have this closed as a figure, a parallelogram. Then we will get the hypotenuse, and knowing that this figure is like this. This is your 40, this is special 30, this is 30, this is 40, and using Pythagorean, we can have this as 50. Why is that? Because solving for the hypotenuse C, if one of the side is 40 and the base is 30, being a right triangle, we have it as extraction of the sum of the squares of A and B. So this will lead you to getting 50. Now, you can use the angle attached to the x-axis, say theta, or the one that is attached. So y-axis, say beta. Now, if this is your theta and this happens to be your beta, it follows then that this is also beta. This being 90 degrees. So with that, we can solve for either the value of theta or beta. Let's use this triangle. This being your theta attached to the x-axis. So you will be using sine. So sine of theta is equivalent to opposite. No. That is 40 all over hypotenuse 50. So solving for theta would be 4/5. What is the sine function of 4/5? What is the inverse sine of 4/5? So computation would lead us to getting a value that is equivalent to
53.13 degrees.
53.13 degrees. So it follows then that the value of beta would be equal to 36.87 degrees. So this is your beta. So it follows then that the value of F4, or F4 cannot be expressed as 50 kips. Since this is a second quadrant, west and north, so we got 50 kips, 53.13 degrees north of west, 53.13 degrees north of west. Okay? Now, after having converted the different force vector into similar formats, the next thing we are to do is to have them solved using either the polygon, the parallelogram, the triangle method, and the component method. So when we back, we'll be solving these via polygon method. Thank you.